welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I am working on Paper Crafting YouTubers monthly theme top. Our theme this month is family. She said that we could use that theme in any way that we would like. I am also going to be working on Stamp It Like It's Hot. Our technique for the month of November is stamping with a medium other than an ink pad. You can use paints, you can use your sprays, your stains, watercolors, sky's the limit. I am bringing in paint. I have this lovely stamp from the October 2023 Hip Kit Club kit. If you'd like to see an unboxing of that kit, I unboxed my kit on my week 1 Thankful Thursday video. It is the first like 10 or 11 minutes of that video or so. And I'm bringing in some pattern papers from that kit as well. Yes, it is fall themed. These photos were taken in April of 2016, not fall photos, but I am definitely going to make it work. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. I'm going to start working on the mixed media. All right up the top, I pulled out those 4 colors of acrylic paint, and I am going to put a little squirt of each color onto my craft mat over on the right hand side. You can see me doing that. And I'm going to be using 2 sponge paintbrushes to apply the ink to my stamp. Now, I am going to use all 4 colors. My goal here is not to just stamp one color of ink. And so I'm going to start with the lightest green, and I'm going to go ahead and spread it where I want it onto the stamp. Then I will flip the brush over and I will put the darker green on where I want it to go. Now, I have already said that these photos are not fall photos, but I love how these colors worked on this stamp. The stamped process was really cool. I'm just kind of mixing them a little bit, and I'm just going to pick a place on my layout to put the stamped image, and then I'm going to do it all again a little bit lower. This stamp could definitely be used on one of the larger MISTI style products. If you have a 12 by 12 MISTI, you could definitely use it to cover an entire background easily. It looks like from where I was stamping that it would interconnect really, really well. So I'm going to go ahead and make this second stamp, just kind of guessing where it's going to go. This one's a little bit wetter than the first one, and that's okay. It looks great. And so here you can see I've lifted the other. Okay, I let it dry, and now I'm going to take my punches. I've got several border punches that need to be used a little more often. And note, I know that I can use the guides on the top of the punch. I always mess that up. I don't know why, so I always turn my punch upside down and just use the punch itself as a guide to get it correct. I think I use one of the punches the way it's intended, and I still kind of got a messed up spot on it, so I just prefer doing them upside down. That's just how this weird lefty's brain works. And so I am gonna go ahead and trim off, I think it's 4.5 inches of this. I'm not trying to use the whole paper, and I don't want to cover up my stamping with my patterned paper. So I'm going to go ahead and use that one. Next, I'm going to go ahead and bring in this blue plaid, and I'm going to do the same thing with, but I am going to trim it so that I get a full 12-inch piece here. This piece of pattern paper, I hand cut a piece to use with my Sizzix, so it wasn't straight, and I had to get a straight cut. So here's this punch, and this is the one that I'm actually going to try to do correctly, and I do mess up a little spot. You really can't see it. I think it ends up where my photo covers it anyway, but I'm going to go ahead and punch through and make another border with this piece. So I cut out some of the punching just so you didn't have to watch all of it. Now I'm going to bring in a third border punch, and I'm going to use this one upside down. And I'm going to use it on this light blue hatch basket weave. I'm not sure what you would call that, but it's a pretty cool background and a great color for for my photos. So I'm going to make the third and final border, and then I'm going to get everything glued down onto my background. Again, I'm not wanting to cover up too much of my stamped image, and so I'm just kind of being really careful about how I cut and place these strips of pattern paper, because of course I want the pattern paper on there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere all of the pattern papers to my layout. I started with the wood grain, and now I'm going to do the light blue, and next up I'm going to do the dark blue. I end up leaving a 1/4 of an inch or so of the white background showing, and I'm going to put that branding strip over that edge and just kind of add all of the colors from the collection on that edge. I really liked that branding strip, so I knew that I wanted to use it. And yes, I will have to trim off the top edge of my pattern paper because it's a little bit taller than my white cardstock. I am cutting a house border out of the house sheet, and I'm just going to set that aside, and then I'm going to bring in this floral piece that I showed you at the beginning, and I'm going to fussy cut one of the flowers that I'm going to use on camera. The rest of them I am going to cut off camera because I don't feel like you should need to watch me fussy cut. That will make this video super long, and I think it's an unnecessary step. But I am going to cut out, I don't know, about a 1/4 to 1/3 of the flowers out of this pattern paper to use on my layout. All right, all the fussy cutting is done. I also fussy cut the houses out of that border. I just took out the top edge, all of the dark navy blue, and I'm going to use that as an anchor point for my title. You'll see that in a minute. Now, you can see that I am distressing the edges of my photo. Initially, I had considered using cardstock or another pattern paper to mat this photo, but then I decided that it would just make it too large. Again, I'm trying not to cover up too much of my stamped image. So sometimes when you can lightly distress the edge of your photo, it gives it the illusion of a very tiny white mat. And that is why I do it here. Sometimes I just do it because I like the look, but in this case, it is really serving a purpose. I am exposing the white core of the photo to give it an illusion of a matte. So I took my title and I painted it with one of the yellows that I used in the stamping, and you have to do 2 to 3 coats of that. I think it's 3 that I used on those white. And I would also suggest using gesso because I didn't, and it does scratch off very easily, so you have to be very careful with that, and you may even consider sealing it with Mod Podge or something. I did not do that, so I may be sorry later, but that is my piece of advice to you if you are using the elements from the October 2023 Hip Kit Club kit. If you paint those matte title pieces at all, you probably should use some gesso. So what you saw me doing there is adding fun foam to the back of the photo, and then I added strips of fun foam to the bottom of that row of houses because I'm going to be using it as an anchor point for my title, which means I'm going to be using a little bit of fun foam on the very bottom of the letters in the title as well. And I just have some scraps and bits of fun foam left over from a previous use, and I'm just kind of cutting those down and using those along the bottom, and then I'll add some more liquid adhesive. The other thing that you saw me do that I don't usually do is I use my ATG gun to adhere the fun foam to the back of the photo. Yes, that does work. Sometimes it doesn't stick well, depending on the type of pattern paper that you're working with. If it's glossy, it has a little bit harder time sticking. Sometimes I will do both. The ATG to hold it in place for now, and then the wet glue to hold it solidly later. I did not add any wet glue behind that photo at all. So I've layered up my fussy cut flowers. I'm quite tickled with where they end up. I'm going to pull out a chipboard frame from the frame pieces, and I'm going to use that to hold my journaling. And it's going to go right there on the bottom right hand side of my title. And I'm going to continue layering up some more of those fussy cut flowers. Those flowers are really, really pretty. I really liked that piece of pattern paper. Love a second sheet of that. I've been kind of frugal with it. I cut it down in a manner on the previous layout that I used it so that I would have enough paper to use for that layout, because I wanted to use the B side. And then I saved the other side for fussy cutting purposes. I am bringing in a phrase that says something like "all together again," and I'm putting that on my title as kind of a basic subtitle. I'm kind of looking through the stickers a little bit to see if there's anything I want to pull from them. I don't believe I do. I think I just set them aside. I'm pretty happy with the amount of embellishments that I currently have on the layout. I am going to pull out the ephemera here, and I'm going to dump it all out, and I'm going to dig through it because there were a couple of things that I wanted out of it. First, I pull out these tiny floral ephemera pieces. The black one, or the dark blue one, I think it's actually dark blue, I am using to cover up where the paint chipped off my title a little bit. It wasn't noticeable too bad in the video, but to me it was glaringly obvious. So rather than trying to mess with paint and trying to get it fixed, I went ahead and just covered it up with a flower. So I'm going to use this banner piece as my journaling element. I'm covering up that acorn that is on the banner piece because, again, this is not a fall layout. All right, I got this layout completely finished. I ended up only going with one of the photos instead of all three. I think that I will make a companion page at a later time with the other two photos and make this a 2-page layout. Anyway, I'll do that another day, but I do want to say that I'm pretty tickled with how this turned out. I liked the stamping with the acrylic paint. That was really fun, and it did make a really cool effect on my background. That would be a really cool effect for a complete background too. Maybe I'll try that sometime. Off camera, I did glue everything down. I added fun foam in various places, like under the tips of some of these flowers here, and that's pretty much it. I did journal on that little banner piece down on that chipboard frame that says "Gather Together." And again, this is not a fall layout. It was actually, these photos were actually taken in April, before it actually even started showing signs of spring. So, you know, you can stretch your stash out and use it in non-traditional ways, and that was what I was kind of trying to show here, that it doesn't have to be about Thanksgiving or fall or anything of the sorts. It can be whatever you make it to be. I chose this collection, because I just got it in and I really wanted to play with it, but also because it matched my photo pretty well. I mean, I don't have the darker reds in there, but I've got the blues and stuff, and it matched well enough that I thought that the photo would stand out, so that as I tell my story, my photo is drawn, your eyes are drawn to my photo, which is what I like. I do want to thank you for stopping by my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, hit that button down below. If you want YouTube to notify you, there's a bell. Click that as well, and they'll notify you when I put out new content. I strive for 2 to 4 videos per week. For this first week of November, I think there's 4 total. For this week, it's, you know, we started out on October 29th, which was Sunday, and so I was still doing 30 days of sketches. So there's 3 videos there, plus Thursday's video, and now this video for Saturday. So there's plenty of content on my channel if you want to catch up and check out what I'm doing. Do note that I am scrapbooking way behind. Sometimes I will do current photos, but as I'm really trying to push through my 2015 albums, I am trying to get those out. Now, these photos were taken in 2016, which is also okay because those albums have also been started. So, that being said, enough of my chatter. There is a playlist in the description box below for Stamp It Like It's Hot, for paper crafting YouTubers hop. I will have a list of those who are participating, and make sure that you stop at everybody's channel, watch their videos, leave them some love. We all appreciate comments and likes. It helps YouTube push our channel up so that when people are searching for scrapbooking, our channels get shown more. So we really, really appreciate it. And this is how we help one another grow our channels. You guys have a great Saturday. Bye.